The text arrived while I was helping James pick out his tie for tomorrow's board meeting. Nothing special, just his standard, under-the-radar Brooks Brothers in Navy. The man worth $4.2 billion dressed like a mid-level accountant, which was exactly how he wanted it. Mom, about Christmas dinner. We think it's better if you skip this year. Christmas is for successful children. Your sister just made partner at Goldman, and your brother's new beach house is being featured in Architectural Digest. We don't want them to feel uncomfortable with your situation. I showed James the message. He paused in his tie selection, reading it twice. Your situation? He asked quietly. You mean your job as Chief Strategy Officer at my company? No, I smiled, straightening his collar. They think I'm still a secretary because that's what I told them 3 years ago. They never asked for updates. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. While my sister Diane posted weekly LinkedIn updates about her junior partner status, and my brother Mark shared daily Instagram stories about his real estate empire, I'd spent the last 3 years helping James build BiteCore Technologies into a $50 billion company. Tomorrow, we'd announce our acquisition of Robertson Systems, a deal I'd orchestrated that would shake the tech industry. But my family didn't know that. They just knew I'd met a nice IT guy at work. Mom, we're sure you understand. Maybe next year if things improve for you. James took my phone, read the new message, and his usual calm expression shifted slightly. We could tell them, he suggested. The deal goes public at 9 a.m. anyway. No, I said, selecting his cufflinks, silver, understated, worth more than my brother's beach house. Let them have their Christmas dinner. Tomorrow will be interesting enough. My relationship with success had always been complicated in the Davidson family. Diane, the eldest, collected degrees like trophies. Harvard MBA, Wharton certificate, Goldman Sachs business cards she accidentally dropped at every family gathering. Mark, the middle child, had leveraged our uncle's connections into a modest real estate business that he marketed as an international property empire, despite owning exactly 3 rental properties in New Jersey. Then there was me, Sarah, the youngest, the quiet one, the one who studied computer science at a state school because it interested me, not because of the name. The one who met James Cooper during a tech conference where he was speaking anonymously about blockchain security. He'd asked me to coffee afterward, impressed by my questions during his session. 3 hours later, we were still talking code architecture and market disruption. A month later, he offered me a job. A year later, he offered me a ring. They're going to feel foolish tomorrow, James said now, watching me adjust his tie. They're going to feel something, I agreed. My phone buzzed again. Diane this time. Sarah, don't take it personally, but I'm bringing the managing partners from Goldman, and Mark's house is being photographed for a spring feature. We just can't have any distractions. Distractions. Last week, I'd finalized a $12 billion acquisition deal in a conference room while Diane was posting about her power lunch with associates. You know, James said thoughtfully, we could move up the announcement. Release it tonight instead of. No, I cut him off gently. Let them have their Christmas dinner. Let them bask in their beach house photos and junior partner business cards. Tomorrow is soon enough. He studied my face. You're too kind to them. I'm not kind. I corrected. I'm patient. My phone lit up with a family group chat. Pictures from the pre-dinner preparations. Mom's table set with her best china. Name cards placed with precision. Diane posing with her Goldman Sachs tote bag strategically visible. Mark lounging in designer clothes, tagging his upcoming magazine feature photographers. James looked over my shoulder at the stream of photos. Your brother's beach house wouldn't qualify as a guest cottage on our property in Malibu, which they don't know we own, I reminded him. Yet, he smiled. Tomorrow's SEC filings include property disclosures. I turned off my phone and helped him with his jacket. Tomorrow he'd be wearing Tom Ford for the press conferences. But tonight he was just James and Brooks Brothers. My nice IT guy, Fiancé, who supposedly shared a rental apartment with me. Last chance, he offered. We could still go to dinner. Watch their faces when the photographer from the Wall Street Journal calls you for comment on the biggest tech acquisition of the year. I kissed him softly. Tomorrow, I said. Tonight, let them feel successful. He nodded, understanding as always. What time does your family usually check their phones in the morning? Mom reads business news at 8 a.m. sharp. Diane has Bloomberg alerts set up. Mark Googles himself hourly. So by 9:15, they'll know exactly who my nice IT guy is, I confirmed, and exactly what their unsuccessful daughter has been doing while they were posting on LinkedIn. James grinned. Merry Christmas, Sarah Davidson, secret tech mogul. Merry Christmas, James Cooper, intentionally terrible dresser. My phone buzzed one final time. Mom again. We've sent you a grocery gift card. For the holidays. Since we know things are tight, I added it to my screenshots folder titled Christmas 2023. Before. Tomorrow would begin a new folder. I was thinking of calling it After. The quiet ones, I've learned, often have the best stories. They just wait for the right moment to tell them. Christmas morning dawned cold and clear in our Palo Alto estate. I sipped coffee from my favorite mug, a chipped one from my first programming competition, while watching James review the final press release on his tablet. Markets open in 2 hours, he said, glancing at his watch. Want to practice your surprise face for when your family calls? I pulled up my phone's Do Not Disturb settings, already configured, only letting through calls from the board and our PR team until noon. The acquisition of Robertson Systems wasn't just another tech deal. It was a paradigm shift. Bytecore's quantum encryption technology, combined with Robertson's AI infrastructure, would transform digital security. The $12 billion deal I'd structured would look like a bargain within months. My family's group chat was already active with Christmas morning photos. Diane in silk pajamas, showcasing gifts from my Goldman team. Mark posing beside a luxury car he'd probably rented for the shoot. Mom orchestrating the perfect family tableau, minus her youngest daughter. The photographer from Forbes is confirmed for 11 a.m. James's assistant texted. They specifically want shots of both of you in the strategy room where the deal was finalized. I smiled, remembering the countless nights I'd spent in that room, building models and running projections while my siblings posted about power lunches and property viewings. At exactly 8:57 a.m., James took my hand. Ready? I nodded. The press release went live at 9:00 a.m. sharp. Within seconds, every major financial news outlet was running the story. Bytecore Technologies acquires Robertson Systems in $12 billion deal. Tech giant's landmark acquisition orchestrated by CSO Sarah Davidson. James Cooper and Sarah Davidson, Silicon Valley's power couple, reshapes tech landscape. My phone exploded. The carefully configured Do Not Disturb held firm, but I could see the notifications piling up. Diane's Bloomberg alerts must have been screaming. The Wall Street Journal's headline was my personal favorite. Sarah Davidson, the silent strategist behind tech's biggest deal of 2023. The article included a photo of me and James from last month's quantum computing conference. Me and Channel, him finally wearing Tom Ford, both of us looking decidedly unlike a secretary and an IT guy. Your mother just tried to call 4 times in 3 minutes, James observed, checking the security desk's message log. And your brother's car just was turned away at the gate. I took another sip of coffee. How long until? My laptop chimed with an email notification. From Mom, marked urgent. Sarah, darling, there must be some confusion about Christmas dinner. Of course you're welcome. We're all so proud of your unexpected success. Please come. Bring James. Diane's Goldman partners would love to discuss potential synergies. James read over my shoulder and laughed. Synergies? Yesterday, they sent you a grocery gift card. Another email. From Diane? Little sister, why didn't you tell us? I could have introduced you to our tech investment team. Though obviously you didn't need my help. Can we meet for coffee? My managing partner is very interested in Bytecore's potential IPO structure. Mark's attempt was perhaps the most transparent. Sis, just saw the news. Listen, I have this amazing property in Silicon Valley that would be perfect for a Bytecore satellite office. Let's discuss over dinner. The same property he refused to show me 3 months ago because I wouldn't understand the luxury market. Your aunt is on CNBC commenting about how she always knew you were the smart one. James noted, turning up the television volume. Indeed, there was Aunt Patricia, whom I hadn't heard from in years, telling a financial reporter about her brilliant niece Sarah, and how our family has always valued innovation over traditional success metrics. My phone continued its silent vibration as texts and calls piled up. Cousins who'd ignored me at family events. Uncle Robert who'd lectured me about settling for a basic tech job. Even my 3rd-grade teacher had somehow found my contact information to congratulate her most promising student. The Forbes photographer will be here in an hour, James reminded me. We should change. I nodded, but didn't move yet. Just watched the notifications accumulate. 3 years of calculated silence leading to this moment. Having regrets? James asked softly. About not telling them sooner. I thought about all the family dinners I'd sat through, the subtle digs about my limited career prospects, the suggestions that I should learn from Diane's ambition or follow Mark's entrepreneurial spirit. No regrets, I said finally. They needed to believe I was unsuccessful to show who they really are. Now they need to believe I'm successful for the same reason. James smiled, understanding as always. And who are you, Sarah Davidson? The same person I was yesterday, I replied, just with better press coverage. My laptop chimed again. Mom had forwarded the family's Christmas dinner photo to me, adding, Look how empty the table looks without you. James's place card is already set. We're serving his favorite wine. What is his favorite wine? I closed the laptop without responding. Let them sit with their empty chairs and hollow successes for a few more hours. The Forbes photographer would capture a different kind of success, one built on substance rather than show. Should we take the Bentley to dinner? James teased. Really make an entrance? No, I smiled. Let's take your old Volvo. Some things should stay understated. After all, true power doesn't need to announce itself. It just needs to be revealed at the right moment. The Forbes photo shoot wrapped at 11:45 a.m. I wore a subtle Brunello Cucinelli suit that cost more than Mark's monthly mortgage. while James finally abandoned his Brooks Brothers for proper billionaire attire. The photographer captured us in the strategy room, surrounded by the evidence of our actual success. Digital displays showing real-time encryption data, market projections, and the morning's soaring stock prices. One more thing, I told the photographer before he left. Could you send a copy of that grocery gift card shot? He grinned, understanding immediately. The final photo in the spread would show the $100 grocery card my mother had sent, casually placed beside the acquisition agreement's $12 billion figure. Petty, James asked when the photographer left. Educational, I corrected. By noon, my family's desperation had reached new heights. Mom had progressed from text to emails to having her assistant call our office. Diane abandoned all pretense of professional distance, sending LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram messages simultaneously. Mark took the direct approach, showing up at Bytecore's headquarters only to be politely informed that Ms. Davidson's schedule is fully booked through January. Your mother's on her fourth attempt to reach our private line, James's head of security reported. Should we continue the standard response? Ms. Davidson is in meetings regarding the Robertson integration. Message noted. Nothing else. The family group chat had transformed into a festival of backpedaling. Mom, found these lovely photos from Sarah's coding competitions. Our family has always valued technical innovation. Photo obviously pulled from my old high school website. Diane, remember when baby sis built her first computer? Such a prodigy. I had actually built that computer in secret after they mocked my interest in technology. Mark, my successful sisters, Wall Street and Silicon Valley, tagged with hashtag family legacy, hashtag tech titans, hashtag proud brother. At 2 p.m., the Wall Street Journal released their in-depth coverage of the acquisition. The article didn't just detail the deal, it traced my entire career trajectory, including quotes from MIT professors about my quantum computing research and testimonials from tech leaders about my strategic innovations. Your sister Diane just canceled her dinner with the Goldman partners, James noted, reading updates from our PR team. Apparently, they were more interested in meeting you. I was reviewing the final integration timeline when my father's name finally appeared on my phone. Unlike the others, he sent a single text. I should have listened when you tried to explain your work last Christmas. My pride cost me a year of knowing my daughter's achievements. I'm sorry. It was the only message that gave me pause. At 4 p.m., we left the office for the drive to my family's house. James had agreed to take the Volvo, but he'd also arranged for our head of security to follow discreetly. The Robertson deal had made us more visible than ever, and visibility required precaution. Last chance to skip dinner, James offered as we turned onto my parents' street. We could be in Maui by midnight. I squeezed his hand. They need to see us exactly as we are. No hiding anymore. The house looked exactly as it had every Christmas. Lights perfectly arranged. Wreaths precisely hung. Everything curated for maximum impression. But tonight, the performative perfection felt hollow. Before we could reach the door, it flew open. Mom appeared, dressed in what was clearly a new outfit, price tags possibly still attached. Sarah, darling. Her voice carried across the neighborhood. And James, our distinguished guests. Behind her, I could see the dining room had been completely rearranged. My old place setting, usually tucked in the corner, was now at the head of the table. Diane and Mark hovered awkwardly by the fireplace, their usual confident poses replaced by uncertain fidgeting. Mrs. Davidson, James said smoothly, producing a bottle of wine worth more than her car. Thank you for the invitation. Though I believe it was retracted until about 9:05 this morning. Mom's smile flickered slightly. A ridiculous misunderstanding. We've always sent grocery gift cards to unsuccessful children. I finished quietly. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Diane suddenly became very interested in her phone. Mark studied his imported Italian shoes. Perhaps, I continued, we should address the various texts, posts, and comments from the past few years before we discuss today's sudden change of heart. Mom's perfect hostess mask cracked slightly. Darling, surely we can focus on the wonderful present rather than the present, James interrupted, his billionaire authority showing through, is simply the future's way of dealing with the past. Shall we discuss both over dinner? I pulled out my phone, opened the folder I'd labeled receipts, not financial ones, but screenshots of every dismissive comment, every social media dig, every family chat message questioning my choices. Yes, I agreed, meeting my mother's increasingly nervous gaze. Let's discuss everything. After all, isn't that what successful families do? The professional family photographer Mom had obviously hired for the evening hovered uncertainly by the stairs. In his confusion about the tension, he accidentally captured the perfect shot. The moment when power shifted, when success met truth, when Christmas dinner became a board meeting none of them had prepared for. I sat at the head of the table, James beside me, and smiled. Shall we begin? Dinner was a masterclass in uncomfortable revelations. Mom had clearly Googled tech terminology, peppering her conversation with awkward references to blockchain initiatives and quantum trajectories. Diane kept dropping Goldman Sachs into every sentence until James casually mentioned that Bytecore had declined their investment proposal last quarter. We found their valuation metrics limited, he noted, sipping the wine we brought. Much like their understanding of emerging tech markets. Diane choked slightly on her turkey. Mark's attempt to pitch his Silicon Valley property empire ended when I pulled up satellite images of his 3 New Jersey rentals on my phone. Interesting definition of empire, I observed. Though I suppose every empire falls eventually. Sarah, Mom interjected, perhaps we could focus on your wonderful news instead of past misunderstandings? I set down my fork. You mean the news that was too unsuccessful to merit a Christmas invitation this morning? The photographer Mom had hired shifted uncomfortably in the corner. James gave him a subtle nod, encouraging him to keep shooting. Every awkward moment deserved documentation. The timing of the Robertson acquisition, Dad began, attempting diplomacy, took us all by surprise. Did it? I opened my phone's gallery, like when I tried to explain quantum encryption at last year's Christmas dinner, and Mark said I should leave tech to the professionals and focus on finding a better job. The photos appeared on the dining room's built-in display screen, a feature James's team had quietly installed an hour before dinner. Each image showed a different moment of familial dismissal. Diane mocking my basic tech job at her Goldman Sachs celebration. Mark explaining real estate to me at Thanksgiving. Mom's carefully cropped family photos that minimized my presence. Or perhaps, I continued, advancing through the slideshow, we should discuss the family investment fund that excluded me because, quote, Sarah's career limitations might compromise our portfolio diversity. Mom's perfect hostess smile cracked further. Darling, we simply didn't understand. No, James interrupted politely, you simply didn't ask. Sarah led the quantum computing revolution at Bytecore while you were sending her grocery gift cards. She architected a $12 billion acquisition while you were apologizing for her career choices to country club friends. The silence that followed was expensive enough to fund a startup. The Robertson deal, I added quietly, was finalized in October. I could have told you then, could have watched your opinions change with the stock prices. But I wanted one last honest Christmas. One final revelation of character. Diane's Goldman Sachs portfolio, which she prominently displayed on the side table, seemed to wilt under the weight of context. Bitcore's market cap, James noted casually, exceeded Goldman's total tech investment portfolio this morning. Interesting metrics on success, wouldn't you say, Diane? Mark attempted recovery. Well, family is more important than success, I finished. Fascinating perspective from someone who uninvited me this morning for not meeting the family's success threshold. The photographer captured it all. Mom's frozen smile, Diane's wilting confidence, Mark's deflating bravado. Christmas dinner became a shareholder meeting where every past dividend of disdain paid out in uncomfortable returns. I have a proposition, I said finally, after the creme brulee had been served and mostly ignored. A family revaluation, if you will. They leaned forward, desperate for redemption opportunities. From now on, we measure success by substance, not show. Achievements by impact, not announcements. Family by support, not status. I met each of their eyes. Those are my terms for continued investment in these relationships. Of course, Mom agreed quickly. Family is everything. No, I corrected gently. Family is what we build through actions, not what we claim through blood. I've built something real while you were building appearances. The question is, what will you build now? James checked his watch. The Asian markets open soon. We should head back. We stood to leave, the photographer capturing one final shot. Me in my understated designer suit, James in his billionaire's casual wear, standing against the backdrop of my family's carefully curated success theater. Sarah, Dad called as we reached the door. Your message this morning, about listening. I'm ready to hear about your work now. Really hear it. It was the only moment that it felt genuine. I handed him my card, not the Bitcore executive one, but my personal email. Start with understanding, I suggested. Success usually follows. In the car, James took my hand. Proud of you. For the Robertson deal. For giving them a path to earn trust rather than buy it. My phone buzzed with notifications from the Asian markets. Bitcore's stock was soaring. The Robertson integration was exceeding projections. Real success, measured in innovation rather than Instagram posts. Next Christmas, James mused, should we invite them to the Malibu house? I thought about Mom's desperate scramble to rearrange dinner, Diane's deflated Goldman Sachs references, Mark's crumbling real estate empire claims. Next Christmas, I decided, we'll let them earn their invitations. Success should be achieved, not assumed. He smiled, understanding as always. As we drove away from my family's carefully curated world, the real one expanded before us, measured not in social media metrics or country club status, but in the quiet power of proven worth. Sometimes the greatest success lies not in what you achieve, but in who you remain while achieving it. I stayed true to myself while they chased appearances. In the end, that made all the difference.